Hi, and welcome to the part 3 of the series Extending Copilot in Sales. My name is Amreek Singh. I'm a senior solution architect with the Fast Track team for Dynamics. A quick recap. In the previous sessions, we spoke about extensibility scenarios, ALM process, how to add new topics, how to add or update Sparkle menu, and how to extend the out-of-the-box skills. This session is all about Record Picker. We have a couple of scenarios. We walk you through how you can use Record Picker with your topics to enhance the user experience. Here are a couple of things about a Record Picker. It's a component that allows you to pass the record context to your prompts without navigating to a specific record or a location in your app. You can invoke the Record Picker by typing \. It uses DB search functionality as a source, and if your entity is not appearing in the Record Picker, you can add your entity to the DB search. And lastly, it increases productivity by saving time navigating to a specific location in your app. A fun fact, at the moment, it's only available in Copilot in Sales. This is the most important slide of the session. It highlights the variable that provide the entity name, record ID, and the description of the record passed through the Record Picker. The data type of this variable is table. Remember this, as it will be very important when we go through the scenarios. Continuing with my banking scenario from the session 1. In the session 1, we created a topic get transactions to display the account balances or transactions for a specific account on the account form. In the new solution, we're going to use the Record Picker so you can run this topic from anywhere or from any screen, even on the landing page in your sales app or your model-driven app. Let's see this in action. I'm on account form here, so I'm going to try to run the bank transactions prompt that I created for the session 1 here. As I'm on account form itself, so it should work. As you can see, I got the transactions. But if I try to run the same prompt on any other form or location, for example, here I'm on opportunity form. As you can see, this time I got a message. This prompt can only work on account form. Now let's try the same prompt using Record Picker. So here I'm going to pass a Microsoft account here. As you can see, we got the results. So by using a Record Picker, you can run your prompts from anywhere in your model-driven app. You don't have to go to a specific location. Let's have a quick look at the topic. Before I go any further, on the right, I have highlighted two context variables. They are out-of-the-box variables in a Copilot in Sales. The first one will give me the GUID for the code when I'm on a specific entity form. In this case scenario, it will give me the account ID. The second one will give me the information related to a record selected using a Record Picker. In short, I'm using these variables to get the account ID to get the bank transactions. Now let's have a look at the topic itself. Originally, I have only one condition. I was checking if the entry type name variable is equal to account, then call my plugin. Otherwise, display this message. This prompt can only work on an account form. And then I was calling my plugin. I have added another step in there, set variable. So I created this new variable called record ID. It is of type global. The reason being, originally I was getting this information just from one variable, context.id.guid. So I was passing this information straight to my plugin, but now this information is coming from the two different variables depending on the scenario. So I'm creating this variable. Let's have a look at the condition, the new condition here. It's very similar to the first one. So as mentioned before, DB record context is a type table. So I'm getting the first record and then I'm comparing a property entity name. If it's account, then go to the next step. In the next step, I'm getting a record ID of the first record and then passing it to my global record.id variable. And then I'm calling my plugin. If you look here, I'm not passing anything to this plugin through the topic or even the information outcome which is coming back from the plugin. I'm not using it to display back to the end user because I'm using an action. So here in the action, so in the inputs, I'm passing the account ID, the value I have in a global door code ID variable. And in the output, I'm saying, just use the AI generated message and display whatever the outcome is in a list format. That's it. This is a really interesting scenario as we will be creating a new code instead of retrieving the information. Here are the steps. The user initiates a topic by referring a client contact to another contact. You can see the prompt on your screen, and then the topic will retrieve and validate the contacts passed through the record picker. It prompts the user for additional information, then calls a Power Automate flow with all inputs. The Power Automate flow will create a referral record and returns the URL of newly created record. The Copilot displays the information to the end user. Let's see how it will work in a Copilot. I'm going to create a referral record. So here I'm going to start with refer. I'm using a record picker here, Abby Morse, to Amreek Singh. Again, I'm using a record picker here. Now the Copilot will validate I have selected 2 contacts. Now it's asking me for a reason. I'm going to provide the reason Abby wants to sell our business. The Copilot is going to validate this information and create a new referral record for me. You can click on open record to see the values. You don't have to do that. In real life, you can just say or change the message saying that new record is created for you. So this is how you can use prompts and a record picker to create records or to associate records. Let's have a quick look at the topic. So these are my phrases. I use refer in my demo. Then I'm looking at the condition. I need 2 contacts to create a referral. So here I'm saying, DB record contacts should have 2 records in it. So if it's not that, display a message. Once the validation is done, I'm trying to get the record ID of those 2 records and assigning to 2 variables, contact 1 and the contact 2. Here I'm getting the first record in a DB record context and passing the record ID to a contact 1. In the second one, I'm getting the last record in a DB record context and passing the record ID to contact 2. And then we are asking a question, please provide the reason. Once I have this information, I'm calling my flow. I'm passing all these 3 variables now. The flow will return the URL of a newly created record. That's what I'm displaying in the Copilot. So there is a tip. Originally, I didn't want to create 2 different variables. I wanted to use this formula straight when I'm calling my flow. But I believe when you ask a question, the DB record context loses values. So you have to assign the values before you ask a question, and then you can use the variables to call your flow. Here are some useful resources. The first 2 links are to the session 1 and 2 on extending Copilot for sales. The third link is to my GitHub repository. Here you can download the YAML for the topics we covered in this session. I think the most important part of extending Copilot in sales is the understanding of our context variables. If you missed anything, please go to my repository, look at the YAML, and you can figure out some of the variables I have used in these topics. Thank you for joining the session. See you in the next session.